Hi, how are you? My name is Houston, and welcome back to another video. I guess the first thing to say is that I did it. I ran 50 miles. I completed a 50-mile ultra marathon on Saturday, September 21st, 2024. I should say right off the bat that I finished the race in 9 hours and 32 minutes. My goal was under 10 hours, so I'm psyched about that. But I also finished top 20 overall, and I finished fourth in my age group, 25 to 29. Like I said, I'm super happy with those results. I just wanted to get under 10 hours, and I really pushed to be able to do that. But I think that I am definitely capable of going sub 9 or just somewhere in the 8s, maybe even in the 7s. I don't know. I don't want to get too crazy. We'll see in the future. In short, it was the hardest thing that I have ever done. A lot of doubts at one point. Never in my life have I had to dig so deep to find reasons to keep going, to find a way to push through the adversity that I was facing. As I woke up the day after the race, and I quite literally rolled out of bed, barely able to walk. I went to sit down at my desk and I opened up Daily Stoic, as I do a lot of the time in the morning. And the entry for the 22nd, the day after the race, was no pain, no gain. At the top of the page, there's a quote from Epictetus. And in short, it says that difficulties show a person's character. And when you're confronted with a challenge, think of it as the universe lining you up with a younger sparring partner. They spoke a lot about wrestling, about the Olympics, about sport as ways to overcome obstacles, as ways to grow. So in the same exact way that I think a lot of people are signing up for these challenges, myself included, to test themselves, I think that was very clearly not lost on ancient philosophers. When we're faced with these challenges, there are always going to be obstacles, right? Maybe you don't have enough stamina. Maybe you don't have enough speed. Maybe you don't have enough height. Maybe you don't have enough power. Pick whatever unit of measurement you want, that generally you are not going to have all of these things dialed in. When we go into these challenges and we start to run up against the limits of one of those units, we're forced to look inside of ourselves and really, in short, we either quit or we find a reason to keep on going. The end of this entry is really what speaks to me. And I don't think that we should say no pain, no gain in a very literal sense, because we need to be kind to ourselves and we need to know when to actually stop when something is truly painful, when something can actually alter our lives or our capabilities permanently, so then we can never face these physical challenges again. Like, you don't want to run on a broken leg, for instance. But when you run into these tests, these challenges, the people that are truly great don't run from them. And as they face these tests, these challenges, they don't just use them to measure their greatness through their accomplishment, but they use them as a pathway to it. Another thing that Marcus Aurelius talked about as well is that the obstacle is the way. What stands in the way becomes the way. Whether that be a literal obstacle, like if you're doing a Spartan race, for instance, there are literally like 8-foot walls you have to climb over. So it could be literal, right? Or it could be the obstacle in your mind. And there was a point and you'll see it when I show you the videos, there was a point around the 38-mile mark where every moment before that felt so good for me. I felt like I was doing everything right. I felt like I couldn't be stopped. I felt like I was getting all the nutrition right. I didn't think that I was ever going to hit a wall, even mentally. There was a point around the 38-mile mark where I hit a wall, and it wasn't really a physical wall. I knew that my body was going to hurt. It's just what happens. I mean, we're meant to run long distances. We're bipedal machines. We are evolved to do this stuff. But really, at the end of the day, these super long distances, they're probably not that good for us. That repetitive stress that can cause injury, which is why you should train and prepare for it and never sign up for one of these races if you don't think that you can tone your body in order to withstand it. These races aren't just a physical challenge. I would say they're maybe like and this is coming from somebody who's only done 2 of them, but they seem to be like a 60-40 mental to physical challenge, maybe even a 70-30 mental to physical. At the end of the day, you still have to do the training. You cannot do these things if you don't train for them. I mean, you probably can, but very slowly, and your body is going to really just not be used to the stimulus that you're going to give it, and you're probably going to end up injuring yourself. But that mental obstacle that you're going to run into, that is the thing that no matter how much you remind yourself you're going to hit, it might still come as a surprise. I told myself over and over and over again, I know that at some point in the 30s or in the 40s, I am going to hit this mental wall and I am going to want to quit. I'm going to want to turn around and go right back to the start. Maybe this was a little difficult because this course was an out and back. So around the 34-mile mark, I had crossed the finish line, or rather ran past the finish line, and I had to go 16 miles or 8 miles out and then 8 miles back to the finish line. I had passed the finish line, and then about 4 miles later is when I hit this wall. And I hated every second of it. 38 to 42 was a very dark time for me. I was really in what ultra runners call the pain cave. I felt like I was fighting my way out of hell. But you know, at the end of the day, I made it through it. I pushed through it. And you have to ask yourself, or at least what really fascinates me is, why can some people do that? Why can some people push through that? And why can't others? Is it something that can always be learned? Is it something that can be taught? Is it something that has to come from consistent exposure to moments like that, starting small and then building up into some that are harder to overcome, harder to face? I don't know. All I have are my own experiences, but I just want to use this video to recap the things that I felt, what went down, and overall, like, how I feel after running for 50 miles. We're about 1 mile in. It's a beautiful trail. It's like right along the water. Gonna start eating food already. It's hard to believe I'm 8 miles in right now, but feeling all right. Only 42 more to go. About 17 miles, almost to the first turnaround, and I'm running back to the start line. A little pain, but gotta keep enduring. 25 miles, halfway point. All I'm thinking about is how I gotta drive home after this. An hour with my manual car. Mile 30, I see the pain cave and I'm going in. I got my great sword in hand and I'm ready to slay my demons. Just about at 34 miles, so this is officially the longest I've ever ran. 16 more to go. Mile 38. Every voice in my head is telling me to quit right now. The sun came out and it's just cooking me and everything hurts. Just gotta endure, man. Just gotta endure. A little over 43 miles. I gotta dig deep. It's just like 6.5 miles. It's like a normal run. It's easy. All right, we're at 49 miles. Just 1 to go. And my watch just died. I think this is a sign I gotta get a Garmin or a Coros. But yeah, this was fun. I'll see you at the finish line. As you could tell from that video, mile 38, I hit a wall. You could literally listen to the excitement in my voice where I'm like, oh yeah, this is the furthest I've ever ran now at 34 miles. And then it cuts to 38 miles and I'm like, yeah, I never want to do this again. Who knows why I kept going. I'm still trying to work that out for myself. But honestly, at the end of the day, I do wonder if there has to be a deep reason for it. Does it have to be this like circus of psychology in order to find the deep rooted reasons why some people keep going and others don't. I don't know. The results are interesting, whether somebody does or not. But finding out that why, I think, is something that probably evolves over time. Because I will admit that even though I'm done with that race, I still don't feel like I did it. I still don't really feel like I deserve it. Like that was me that did it. And it's such a weird thing to say, especially out loud, because obviously I did it. I know I did. I kind of spoke about this in the 50K video, but there's a voice in my head that thinks, "Oh no, that's you can't do stuff like that. That's what other people do, but not you. You don't do things like that." Certainly don't say that out of pity. I don't think it warrants it. It's more out of honesty because I think a lot of people probably relate to that. You can show up and you could put in the work day after day, week after week, month after month, and then you get to something and it's this sort of illusion, or you see the accomplishment in like a mirage and you're like, did I do that? Was that me? Part of me thinks that that's from a certain kind of upbringing and a certain kind of way of looking at yourself. But who knows? I mean, I'm not a psychologist. The proof is in the results, really. So if you end up doing it, and I mean, shout out to all the people that also raced that day, the 25K, the 50K, the other 50 milers, the 100K racers, and holy shit, dude, the 100 milers. I mean, if I'm a little confused over my ability to understand if I completed 50 miles, there's this parasitic brain worm that I have that's like, I kind of want to run 100 miles one day. Who knows? Who knows, dude? I might. After going through what I just went through, I probably won't be for a while, but I'm not going to speak too soon because I have a couple other goals lined up first, but I'll talk about that a little later. So a little bit more detail on the race from the very beginning. Woke up super early, got a bunch of sleep, stayed at a hotel close by because the race was like an hour and 20 minutes away, but I did not want to wake up early and drive that far when the race start is at 7 a.m. I got a hotel that was like 10 minutes away, stayed there for a night, just hung out, watched old Family Guy episodes in the hotel. As a sidebar, I cannot believe they're putting that stuff on on public television. Look, I laughed at that stuff so much when I was younger because it was always flipping between Toonami and Family Guy when I was at my grandparents' house when I was like, well, very young, like preteens. Watching those scenes again in that hotel room, I was like, this is insane. I can't believe that this was on TV. And I may have still laughed a little bit. You know what? Here's this video that I made the day before with my whole entire running kit, from my clothes to my vest to the nutrition, blah, 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 blah. So watch that and then we'll just come back. That way I don't have to explain everything twice. Okay, so today I'm gonna run 50 miles. The fit is the Bandit quarter tights, also the Bandit Drift Performance Tee. Obviously, I'm a big fan. I got the ADV5 vest from Solomon. Inside the vest, I'll have all sorts of carbs like honey stingers. I got some Go Gels from BPN, the Lenny and Larry Cookified bar, these Nature Bakery bars, and I got Focus Fuel. And then I'm not normally one to chafe, but I will carry some of the squirrel nut butter because 50 miles is a long way and you never know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna have soft flasks inside these two pockets right here. One with a carb drink, probably G1M Sport from BPN, and then another one with either water or just a dedicated electrolyte drink, maybe something from Tailwind. We are gonna be running through some tunnels at some point, so I do have to have a headlamp for that. Do not wanna fall and DNF. As for my shoes, I got the Nike Pegasus Trail 4 Gore-Texes, and my socks are just normal black socks from Target because I've never had any problems with them, never needed anything more or less, and I I don't want to try anything new when I'm running 50 miles. I got the Apple Watch Series 9. I'm not a Garmin or a Coros guy yet. And I have my Oura Ring. It is Washington, so you never know when the rain might start, even if the weather is forecasted to be amazing. So I have the Solomon Bonatti wind jacket just in case. My drop bag also has similar items to all the food that I just showed you, and that'll be at around the halfway point. Pretty much all that food and a little bit more is going to go inside the vest alongside the soft flasks. And yeah, all that's left to do is run 50 miles. Pretty simple stuff, right? I did end up consuming pretty much everything in that video. I had a goal of eating every 20 minutes. So whether it was a gel or a part of one of those bars or a honey stinger or pretzels or whatever, I was burning through gels. And now that I think back, I wish that like every 4 or 5 gels I had was a caffeine one. If I'm going to eat the gel regardless, it would have been nice if it had caffeine in it. But I did have Focus Fuel, thankfully, and they've been super cool to me lately. I'm not getting paid to say this, but I love like everything that they're doing. They have great flavors. It's like blue raspberry, watermelon, green apple, and fruit punch. The reason I love them so much is because they're super dosable. They're just like this little lightning bolt that is 50 milligrams of caffeine. And when I'm in the middle of these races, it's hard to eat a lot of volume all at once. It's super easy if I just want like that little boost of energy in those next couple of moments, or you know what I mean, like within the next hour or two, then just like 1 or 2 of those things, 50 or 100 milligrams, is just fantastic for me. So shout out to Focus Fuel and shout out to my buddy John. Also, the aid station food, I would literally run up there and imagine my surprise, imagine my excitement. If you know me, this is insane, but they had Oreos, dude. So I would grab 1 Oreo and a half a banana at pretty much every aid station I pass by. Dude, there's nothing like that pure cream sugar in the middle of a chocolate cookie of an Oreo mixed with half a banana when you're 20 something miles, 30 something miles into a race. I literally felt like I was reincarnated. Not counting all the food that I brought, or the banana or the Oreo at the aid station at mile 34. I got a little container of these roasted potatoes that they had there. They're like, yeah, you can salt them yourself. I literally took the salt container. I'm just dousing these potatoes in salt, and I just shoved them in my mouth. And because I didn't want to spend that much time at the aid station, I didn't want to burn up too much time. Those potatoes were sent from God. Honestly, I almost choked on them because they were so fucking good and I was chewing them so fast. That's mostly it for nutrition. Oh, and sorry, one other thing too that I didn't mention in the video was that I had like salt tablets, like this jar of salt tablets, and each one of them was I think like 50 milligrams of salt, and they were just chewable. So I would like bite them in half so they dissolved a little bit easier, and then I'd let them dissolve in my mouth, and then I'd drink either an electrolyte drink or some water to sort of rinse my mouth out because they left this like chalky feeling in my mouth. And of course, I had some Advil as well. Those things definitely gave my legs a second wind at 2 different points. I took some at, I think it was like the 3-hour mark and then the 6-hour mark. And I'm not saying this is a requirement or anything like that. I don't know how many people have Tylenol or Advil when they're doing these races, but it's pretty great. And I think that's about it for nutrition. The hardest part of the race in general was probably remembering to eat. Like I said, I was trying to eat something, whether it was like a quarter or half of a protein bar or a gel, like every 20 minutes or so. This is because, and I'm not an expert, this is just what I'm literally just repeating something that like ultra running nutritionists and dietitians and people like that have said. But apparently when you're doing these races, all the blood rushes away from your internal organs, from your viscera, and into your legs, because your legs are the things that are doing all the work. So when that happens, your digestive system slows down. But if you keep eating then some of the blood still stays around your stomach and around your digestive system. So that system stays active, because if you don't keep eating, well, for one, you're going to run out of energy. I mean, I burned like 8,000 calories doing this race. And apart from just running out of energy, your stomach will have this food in it that it doesn't really want to digest because the system has sort of shut down. Like I said, running these long distances probably can't be good for you. It's mostly just a challenge. Like, my girlfriend and I do this thing when we leave events or parties or whatever, and it's called just the three things. We each pick one thing we disliked, one thing that surprised us, and one thing that we did like. I was thinking about that just for me for this race, and one thing that I disliked was probably the course. I'm not crazy about out and back courses. It was incredibly flat, which was great, but my shoes were padded, but not padded enough. I think that I would need like longer distance trail running shoes if I were to do this same exact course again, just because of the flatness of it. There's no real like slowing down unless you know, sort of choose to just like walk or run a little bit slower. But for me, because I was pushing for this time, I just really wanted to focus on movement. Like, I wanted to just keep going. All that being said, whether I slowed down or not, I think that my shoes probably could have used just a little bit more padding on that midsole. It's maybe something like the Hoka Speed Goat. I hear so many good things about that shoe. So I don't know, maybe that'll be the next one that I pick up for the trails. And one thing that surprised me, it's something that I already kind of touched on, but I was surprised at how broken I felt at that 38-mile mark. I texted my girlfriend like mid-stride, and I was like, this is the hardest thing that I've ever done. I feel I feel so defeated. It's just so funny thinking about it now. But yeah, that really surprised me, because I've always thought of myself as somebody with a pretty strong mind, and a mind that I've really like built up over time. All it takes is one moment and you're looking over the edge, you're looking over the cliff. I forget who said it, but something that I was thinking about at that time when I was truly doubting myself is the treasure you seek is within the cave you fear to enter. And I thought about that because of the whole pain cave metaphor, and how everything that you want is probably within that darkness. You have to like force yourself to go into it to actually get it. The treasure you seek, the accomplishments, like all that stuff that you're really vying for, there's always going to be that obstacle in the way. And I know that I keep going back to that, but that really does seem to be the point of these races, these challenges. And finally, one thing that I liked. The easy answer here for me was I liked finishing. I just liked the overall feeling of completing something like this. But the more that I thought about it, I thought of like all the smiling faces, people that were passing me, people that I passed, people who were coming back and I was going this way because it was an out and back. And I think I told every single person I passed, like, nice work, good job, good work, nice job. And things like that sense of camaraderie, that really does go a long way. I was about a mile from the finish line, and there was this dude just like jog walking, and I was coming up at him because I really like, I got like a second wind around like mile 46 or something like that. Like, I ran the whole way at a faster pace than I did the whole entire thing. I passed this dude and I was like, come on, man, we got this. Like, we can see the finish. It's right there. And I'm looking over at him. I'm just like, we got this, man. We've gone so far and it's right there. And he's like, yeah, dude, we got this. And then when he finished like 5 minutes after me, he just like walked by me and patted me on the back. And he's like, hey, man, thank you for that push at the end there. And I think things like that, they really go a long way. And it doesn't take a lot of effort on, like, it didn't take a lot of effort on my part to just give those words of encouragement. Things like that aren't just good in race or challenge situations like that. They're good in really everyday life. You never know when somebody might need that little bit of encouragement, like that, hey, nice job today. Or, hey, good work. Or, hey, that looks good. Like, a lot of people aren't used to hearing that stuff. And so when you might say that to them, those words can be the difference between, well, I mean, on the extremes, it can be the difference between life and death. Some people are one bad comment away from just giving up. And honestly, you never know who that person might be. And these small acts of kindness or encouragement can really help bring people back into the fold when they think that they've been pushed away. There are a lot of beautiful lessons to learn from these races, both about yourself and other people. Oh, also, yeah, it's pretty hilarious that my watch died at 49 miles. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, dude, it kind of pisses me off. Just because I look at like my Strava and it says 49.01 miles, and that's just, come on, man. Come on. I mean, I know I did it, but it just, seeing that number and not the 50, it's so stupid. I literally went out and I bought an Apple Watch Ultra too. So yeah, we're definitely not running into any more battery problems. I would have got a Garmin or a Coros. I was looking at Garmin's, but I want the compatibility with like my phone, my devices. So Apple got my ass again, damn it. For the most part, a lot of the stuff that I said in the 50K video also applies in this video. And other than things that are just specific to this race, I don't really want to like be a broken record too much. I already do that enough on this channel. As for what's next, after I completely digest the fact that I have completed a 50-mile ultra marathon, I'm currently looking at coaching for a sub-3 marathon. Boston recently decreased the qualifier time to 2:55 for males age 18 to 34 to qualify for the Boston Marathon, and that's my goal. I want to get a BQ. Next, well, for one, I need to work on completely healing my hamstring because it held up for this 50-miler, but I know that once I start doing a lot of like tough speed focused work, because I need to get faster. I need to get faster if I want to run a sub 2:55, because that's insane. That's like a 6:51 pace for 26.2 miles. That's going to be tough for me as somebody who has ran a 3:24. I need to shave about 30 minutes off my time. So that will be quite the stretch. And if I can't do it in one race, which would be miraculous, honestly, yeah, just that would straight up be the definition of a miracle, then it'll probably take me more than a couple races. What I see myself doing is incrementally going down. Like, you know, I ran a 3:24, so maybe like a 3:15 next, and then maybe like a, I don't know, like a 3:05, and then maybe, so it's like maybe 3 races out. I'm going to shoot for 1 race, but I really want to focus on the healing and the strengthening of namely my left hamstring, because I don't want to keep getting this injury. I don't want, this is something that I could see plaguing me for a long time if I neglect it. So yeah, that's the main focus. And then going sub 3, hopefully. Or no, not hopefully. I will do it. I will go sub 3. I gotta stop saying that. And then who knows, within the midst of all this, I might try and do or start training for a half Ironman. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff on the horizon. I gotta find a place to practice swimming mostly, and get a bike too. I wonder if I could do like all my training on an indoor stationary bike. Those would be some long rides. I would definitely be entering the pain cave on those rides, but not pain, just fucking boring, monotonous bullshit. Exciting times going into 2025. I am feeling pretty good. I'm not signed up for a race right now, but I know that next year for sure I will be doing another Spartan race. My older brother, who's been trying to lose weight for quite a long time, he's well on his way to getting there or getting to his goal weight and strength. So I told him that when he gets to that point, I will pay for his first race, whatever it might be, a distance race, a Spartan race, whatever. And he wants to do a Spartan race. So next year around this time, actually, I will be doing the Spartan Beast here in Seattle, but that is September 14th next year. So got a little under a year. There's plenty of time between there to get faster, get stronger, and just stay consistent. That is the most important thing with all this. Just keep going a little bit every day. Forward is still forward, right? Whether it's a step, a crawl, a leap, a bound. And a lot of people don't really understand how powerful that is. Well, that's the magic. That's just showing up. That's the magic. It's funny how a lot of stuff that actually works is like the most unsexy stuff ever. It's like, yeah, man, just show up. Like, that's all you got to do. Even if you know, it could be 5 minutes one day, 60 minutes the rest of the days, 30 minutes, and shit, dude, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect every day. Just show up. Just be there. And yeah, do your best. I appreciate you listening. Thank you so much. And I'll see you on the next one.